Greetings and welcome to Wizards of Fun. My name is Eric and welcome back to round 3 from my trip to SCG Con Las Vegas, the Crossroads Sorcery sanctioned event. I'm uploading all of the rounds from this event slowly. Was hoping to have them all at once. I'm kind of getting used to the groove of going to an event, coming home, and then editing all of the footage. So forgive me for getting these uploaded kind of one at a time. Probably moving forward, I'll come home and upload them all in one big chunk. And I'm also uploading a full recap at the time of this recording. So please look forward to that as well. We have a Druid matchup here against a gentleman named Ryan K. And I'm running the Motto Water Druid deck. And I see in his hand, just looking back, again, it's been a few days, but he's at least running Earth and Air in his Druid deck. I have a Mariner's Curse. I've got a Frog, a Swap, and some decent water sites in the form of the Leviathan and the Troll Bridge and a river. Looks like I decide to get rid of the Frog and the Mariner's Curse, keep the Swap, and put back the Island Leviathan. Again, it has been a week or so since I have played this match, so it's almost as if I'm watching this for the first time alongside you guys. I know the result of the match, but just can't remember exactly how it all played out. So looks like we end up with a Riptide, a regular River, Troll Bridge, Undertow. All right, so it looks like I decided to get rid of the Leviathan because although it's a good site, it's not necessarily good on turn 1. It's not good for basically the first 7 or 8 turns. So just pitch that to get something a little bit better. I am on the draw, so I get to scry the top card of my spell book, and opted to keep it on top. Starts it off with the Windmill, which I believe is Earth and Air. Sometimes I get the double sites, the dual sites mixed up. I'm looking it up on Curiosa, but at the time of this recording, Gothic just came out, so their website is really slow, so bear with me here. Yes, it is 1 Earth and 1 Air threshold. Again, at the time of this recording, this was pre-nerf of the Druid, so Tawny will be able to come back every turn, as long as there's not already a Tawny on the field. All right, tapping to play in Autumn River here. I didn't quite see what card was on the top. You guys may have saw it, that I decided to scry for. Moving forward for events, I'll of course try to get better at recording these matches in a way that the audience can actually see what I'm considering keeping. It was a Shapeshift. Absolutely. That's a card you want to have. My whole deck basically wants to see Shapeshift. If I see Shapeshift, I'm feeling pretty good. And it's a pirate ship. So opting to, it looks like I am considering keeping it, but decided to put it on the bottom. It's an ordinary minion, so there's 4 copies of it in the deck. I don't necessarily need it yet. So just getting rid of that for maybe a different utility spell. Multiple Riptides are always good, drawing cards and being able to pull something toward a water site. So I'm feeling good in this hand. Like in my water deck, this looks like my bread and butter. Having a Troll Bridge is always good. Riptides are good. Undertows are good. Shapeshift allows one of my minions, in this case my Tawny, to transform into one of the top 5 minions on the top of my spellbook. And I have 2 copies in this deck. Deck list is listed below, of course. But again, at the time of this viewing, Gothic has just come out. So, you know, if you're interested in looking at the deck, that's fine. But I'm sure everything has changed or will be changing over the next couple of days here. Actually, overnight, I'm going to start brewing some Gothic decks right now. I'm going to pick up my first Play Booster box of Gothic at a local game store tonight. My order that I ordered online is a little delayed, so I just ordered an additional box from a game store, paying full price, so I can go and pick it up today. So I'm recording this now, and I'm planning to go pick that up later today and do an unboxing recording, and I cannot wait. I'm very excited. So yeah, a lot going on in Sorcery right now. Lots of events, and with Gothic coming out, there's just a lot of... it makes me wish I took a couple weeks off of work to be able to edit all of the things happening. So just bear with me as I get uploads going, and I do apologize if the SCG Con Vegas recap video does take a little bit to come out. Just with Gothic coming out and work being at the end of the year here, things are really busy in my own life at work. So you can see I do a Riptide. I pull his Tawny into the Troll Bridge, which gives the opponent the option to either discard a card or take the damage. Of course, Tawny, at the time of this recording, is an unlimited minion that can come back. Not unlimited, but basically unlimited until you run out of sites that you can play on the board here. Moving my own Tawny up. And opting to draw a site with the Riptide. This just allows me to continue ripping sites, or drawing sites, ripping sites, sorry. This allows me to rip spells off the top of my spell book every turn, is what I tried to say there. It also allows me, it guarantees that I have the 4 mana that I'll need to play the Shapeshift. So just grabbing a site now to get it out of the way. I've got all the mana I need for what I'm trying to build up to right now in my current hand, which is just get to Shapeshift as soon as possible. And try to get a look at his hand. He's about to play a Dark Tower. So this gives him an extra mana for the turn, since it's the only tower in play. So he has 4 mana to work with, and he opts to play a Pudge Butcher, one of the big dogs in Sorcery. If you don't know, Pudge Butcher basically is Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Get over here! You get to tap and throw a hook out, and when it hits something, it pulls it in, and you may strike it. So you can also use Pudge Butcher to your own benefit by tapping and throwing a projectile and pulling one of your own allies in, and then not striking it. The only downside to that card is it's immobile, so it cannot move itself to defend or anything like that. It can be blinked, it can be teleported. It can even be moved with like something like an Avatar of Air, which I've seen. Which is a very creative way to use the Pudge Butcher and being able to move him around. All right, and drawing a spell for the turn here. Looks like we get another Tufted Turtles, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I don't need an extra Turtles here, but it also does, actually, I guess I'm thinking about it. If you get a Turtles on the field and he does tap the Pudge Butcher to pull something in, the tap ability of the Pudge Butcher, or the ability of the Pudge Butcher is a tap ability. So the Turtles is actually safe from the Pudge Butcher. Yes, it'll get pulled in, but it soaks up the first damage that it would take for the turn, and then the Pudge Butcher cannot strike at that point. I guess the only exception is if he used Tawny to attack into it, breaking the seal and then using a Pudge Butcher, but I move an attack into his Tawny to get rid of it. I assume that's where my head is at in this match. At least if I was playing it again right now, that's where I would be thinking. Just get a Turtles kind of in front of my Druid to prevent him from being able to do that. And alternatively, I just pull my Druid over 1 by tapping. That Druid should be tapped. I'm sure I'll catch it in a second. But tap to play a site, pull the Druid over, and then perhaps put a Turtles down for him to... well, to threaten his Valley of Delight, but also I know it's safe from the Butcher. Like, he can pull it if he wants, but I'm not worried about it. I've got 3 mana. I like to use dice personally to keep track of how much mana I have for the turn. Some people, they're like, okay, I have 6 mana, but I have a Philosopher's Stone, and I've cast this, and they have to kind of think through it. I personally just put a die down, and as I'm casting spells, I just deduct from it, and it just makes it for me a lot easier to keep track of where I'm at. That Druid, I'm sure it'll get tapped. I'm sure I'll realize it in just a sec. Yep, so I play the... was considering where to, you can see I'm kind of considering where I want to put this here. But I think playing it here is fine. It's safe from the Pudge Butcher again. If he gets a Tawny up, it will have Summon Sickness and can't negate the damage. Tapping the Druid. And I guess the thought of playing the Turtles not in yeah, so it looks like I opt to not do it. I guess both are fine. This just makes it so that his Pudge Butcher no longer does anything, right? It's immobile, it's just sitting there. Yeah, I can't get in an attack right on his avatar until later in the game, or if I find a way to deal with the Pudge Butcher. But rather than give him a target to optionally like play around with and be able to, you know, find a way, because I guess he could, no, I was gonna say that he could maybe attack with his Druid into the Turtles to get rid of the shield and then kill it with the Pudge Butcher, but the Pudge Butcher has to strike it as soon as it arrives, so that's not how that would work. Unless he was able to buff his Druid. Anyway, I'm overthinking this, but just, or I'm thinking of all the scenarios of ways that he could get around that. And then this is interesting. This is, again, I've been playing the game. I'm fairly new. And he plays a card in this game that I had never dealt with before. Forgive me, I forget the name of it. I'm about to look it up, but it's the one he's holding in his hand there, which I believe says that all... I'll look it up on Curiosa once I know the name, once I see it here, but I believe what it says is that all nearby minions take one less, including itself. So it makes it hard to deal with because and he has 2 in his hand, as you can see from the camera here. And he does play the Lookout, which allows him to see my hand, and he's writing down every card that I have. Definitely suggest that if you're playing in a tournament to have a pen and pad or something like he has, or like I have. I also have kind of a magnetic pad that I use to keep track of my life. You can write down the name of every card, and then as they play them, you cross them off. And then later in the game, you can see how many cards are in his hand and know, okay, I know which 2 cards he does have and which ones he doesn't have. And that means he has 1 card that I haven't seen yet. And helps you kind of deduce down for risk management and decision making. So he sees my whole hand. We've got Swap, Shapeshift, Tufted Turtles, and a Hydra. Hydra has since been nerfed, but at the time of this recording, or at the time of this this match, the Hydra was immune to anything that doesn't cause lethal damage. Of course, you can drown it, you can bury it, you can banish it, or hit it with something like a Poison Nova for that lethal damage. But now the way the card reads is that if you deal enough damage and it would be lethal in that sense, then it does take it. So I believe like double blocking, for example, would kill it now. But it wasn't the case at the time of this recording. Not that it would maybe matter, but just keep that in mind that if you are watching this and you're familiar with the Hydra being able to die from a double blocker, that was not the case at the time of this filming. So it's interesting posting all of these matches just before all the rules are changing, and with Gothic coming out, it's kind of poor timing. Again, I think the next time I go to an event, when I get back from the event, I will try to upload these matches like within 2 days. Just get home when they're fresh in my mind, record my narration and upload them. I'm kind of still getting into the groove of the previous event I went to was Houston. I only made 1 video for that. So I kind of just came back, spent a week editing it, and with this event, I did much more. All right, I think this card is called Shield Maidens. So I'm just going to kind of look it up here. Yes, that's the card. Nearby allies take 1 less damage, including itself. So it has power 2, but if I attack it for 2, it survives. Tawny can't block, but it just makes everything harder. And he has 2 in his hand, so if he gets that down again, it just makes the math a lot more complicated. I would basically need 4 power to kill either of the Shield Maidens. And of course, myself playing this match, I don't realize he has an extra 1 in his hand, but he could have 2 in his deck. So it's something I'm considering. Like, well, if he gets 3 of these going, it just makes them harder and harder to kill. And you'd want to target probably them over other creatures in order to... just getting rid of them makes killing everything else much easier. And yeah, with cards like Swap joining the game, it's a newer card. It personally breaks my brain. There's just so many options. I guess luckily you can only cast it on the surface that you're on. Like if it doesn't affect the subsurface as well, because that would make it even more confusing. But you're always wanting to look for, like for example, I can swap with his Pudge Butcher, right? His Pudge Butcher is immobile, but I could swap it to my site and then maybe attack it with something with lethal or with some sort of an effect to get it out of that lane, which, I mean, that although his Pudge Butcher isn't, you know, I have all my stuff away from his Pudge Butcher right now, so it's not a threat, it still is locking down the entire lane that I have to get up to him. So unless I play a site in front of my current Druid placement on 14 and then start going that way, but that still is going to take 2 or 3 turns to do that and move all my stuff up. It's clunky. So if I can just swap my Tawny over there and then kill the Butcher, like, Swap really is going to be a really, really powerful card, I think, moving forward into Gothic. And as a water player myself, at least right now, I really enjoy water. I'm really glad it's being added to the arsenal. So Undertow comes down, which reads, anything within the body of water can be moved 1 step. And I don't recall what his Valley of Delight is, but I believe he's just earth and air. So That would not be considered part of the body of water, so I just pull my Tawny up. And then, yes, pull the Tawny up and then get a shapeshift just to get that shapeshifted, whatever it shapeshifts into a better position. Possibly I can get a... Oh, no, I don't have vampires in this deck. Never mind. I was going to say if I have a flyer, that would be good. So not really, it's kind of a hard position, but just staying out of line of the Pudge Butcher for now still. So we see Lord of Unland and we see the Draconis are the two cards that we would want to transform into here just because they're so powerful and they cost a lot. Draconis is a very, very good card. Lord of Unland is also good. Gives everything in your body of water +1, but I think Draconis here is just a stronger card. He's not playing any water sites, so until I get like an Atlantean Fate or some way to flood his sites, it's, I'm kind of, my minions would get more powerful on my sites, but that's it. And considering he has Shield Maidens, which kind of negates that effect, it's almost kind of a dud. So Tawny is getting transformed into the Draconis. And then he's just asking how it reads. The Draconis, at the end of your turn, you may submerge everything at the site, including itself. And I think I'm just explaining to him that, like, yeah, so if I wanted to use that effect, he would get drowned, or submerged rather, with everything on it. And then if I want to bring him up the following turn, I have to tap and move back up to the surface. But essentially it locks down a site because I can just come up and then at the end of the turn drown everything. So in a different way of the Pudge Butcher, it locks down a single site. And if he wants to move anything over to it, or if I have a way to pull one of his minions onto it, I get to drown it for free. So that's also an option, I suppose, here. If I can get a Tawny or a Frog or my Turtles or something, maybe that'll even survive the Submerge effect, I can swap it with the Pudge Butcher to bring it to the site of the Draconis. And then at the end of the turn, drown everything. Submerge everything. I guess drown and submerge are one of the same, but the card drown says submerge one minion or artifact. So it's just, I tend to mix up the word there. Yeah, an exciting time in Sorcery, guys. Just before I was recording this, I was on a phone call with my buddy Mike, who has been on the channel. If you happen to have seen my other videos, he's a new player, and we did, I recorded our very first match of Sorcery together, where he was learning the game. And him and I were on a Discord call, just doing a friendly chat, going through a lot of the Gothic cards. I'm trying not to spoil all the cards for myself because I am opening a box later this evening. However, when all the cards are in Curiosa, I said, okay, I'm going to at least skim these. So I won't spoil any cards in Gothic, but I do plan to do some discussion videos and stuff coming up. So I hope you guys look forward to that. Of course, I'll give like a spoiler warning. I mean, I guess the set is now out, so it's not really spoilers, but for this first week, I'm just kind of being sensitive to people getting their product and not wanting to ruin any surprises or anything. So there are some cards that I really want to talk about right now with you guys, but I'm gonna bite my tongue here. We'll save it for another video. I can say that the artwork is almost indescribably good. It's so good. I'm so excited. And just really excited to see everything that's gonna change. And Druid getting a nerf gives me even more reason to try out new avatars. So I'm going to be picking out, there's already a few that I have in mind that look really cool, but there's 13 of them in Gothic, and I haven't looked at them all. All right, Pebbled Path, I think is the name of the card. Essentially, it says that cards nearby don't have charge. Let me actually double check that, if it's just allies or not. Pebbled Paths, I think is what it's called. Minions atop nearby sites lose charge. Okay, so it affects his own as well. So he's ideally, playing that in a deck that does not have charge. But very effective against a lot of the Steam Druid decks and the Fire Druid decks that were very prominent at the time of this recording. And here comes down the second Shield Maiden. So yeah, this is for the first time me going, wait a minute. So, all right, I have to deal 4 power in order to kill one of these. Which, although I got a cool Draconis shapeshift, you know, I just don't have a way to really deal with them yet. So we're gonna have to find some big minions or some ways to drown them or something like that. He also has Dispel and Grapple Shot in his hand, by the way. I'm sure he's shown it and you guys have seen it already. I did not catch that until just now. I don't know, I try to think from the perspective of the player, right? Because I don't know that information when playing the match. So there's no way of me to know, like, oh, he could Grapple Shot into my Draconis. So, you know, we have to assume that I don't know what's in his hand because we're obviously watching this in post now with the camera. And I gotta say, this is an old GoPro that I recorded this on. I've had it forever. I think since like 2000 and, oh boy, probably 2014, because I started recording for a totally different channel. But when I was moving to Japan, I was using this as like my primary vlog camera, and it's the same camera, at least the same model. I think my original one broke and I got a replacement. But either way, I just, you know, am getting into Sorcery and wanting to record at events, but rather than invest hundreds of dollars into new cameras, I decided to bring just what I have. So I'll slowly upgrade my gear, and I'm looking forward to getting new equipment and, you know, maybe being able to go up to 4K and stuff at some point. So this camera is not of the highest quality, but I would argue that it is good enough to start a channel, right? All right, so casting a Pond, which allows a beast to be cast for one less mana rather. So the Tufted Turtles only costs 2 here. And then with my remaining 3 mana, I can cast Swap. So here's what I was talking about before. Getting something onto a site. Beautiful. And then I move and attack into the Pudge Butcher. So really, really fun use case of Swap. The whole idea with water is, like, I just love that part of water is pulling things around and undertowing them and swapping them. So you just kind of feel like you have the ability to control the state of the board to a certain degree, which I find really, really fun. And then with cards like Maelstrom, which pull in minions once per turn, it just adds, it mixes up the layouts of the games almost every single match. You know, you could play the same cards over and over and over, but depending on where you place them and which order you draw them, it completely changes, and it's just a beautiful part of Sorcery that is so much fun. He is at 19 life, by the way, and I'm at 20. I worry that my narrations for these games are more just me talking about other topics and not paying attention to the game. I am paying attention, I promise. I'm new at this, but yeah, so I was able to play up Tufted Turtles for the reduced cost because of the Pond, swap it with his Pudge Butcher, and then just directly attack into it with the Draconis to get rid of it. But now I have a Turtles that's right on top of him, and it soaks the first damage, so I can attack his Druid and not take anything, which is great. So I got a threat there removed, and now the lane is clear. His Shield Maidens are there, but they will have to move either onto the Troll Bridge, and he'll have to discard a card to get in there, or onto my home site. Although he does have a Tawny on my side as well. Not that that's a huge threat or anything, but just to know that it is there. But my Tufted Turtles can block, so that's the other thing. I have a Turtles on my Druid, so if he does to attack onto my river, my home site, I can just block it. All right, so it looks like he's attacking to try to bait out my Turtles, so I just take the damage, go to 19. I apologize, I'm at 18 and he's at 20. I'm gonna, bear with me guys, I'll get better at keeping track of the life totals and stuff moving forward. I'm frankly kind of trying to rush through these a little bit because there's 7 rounds to get the narrations out, get the recordings out, in order to switch over to Gothic and the Vegas recap video, and then from there make a bunch of Gothic content. So thanks for your patience with these uploads, but also thanks for your patience with my lackluster commentary here. So he does move and attack, and I block with the Turtles, soaking up that damage. Oh, and this is an interesting point, which I didn't realize, like you can tell that I didn't realize, is that, and even as I'm recording here, he moves and attacks into the Troll Bridge, but he only takes 1 damage instead of 3 because he has 2 of them, if that makes sense. So rather than take 3 from Troll Bridge, he only takes 1, so it survives, and I get it. He gets in for 2, and I'm at 16. He then plays a Sir Boris. I'm gonna pull this one up as well. Another part of my, forgive my loud keyboard clicks. It's Boris, right? Uh-oh, trying to look it up. Sir, I'll just type in Sir and see what comes up. It's something the Young. And the Curious website is just very, very slow right now. Everyone's looking at Gothic cards, I think, right now at the time of this recording. All right, he flips to Bruin in order to soak up the turtle's damage to remove that threat, and we pass to my turn. All right, the website loaded. It's Sir Bors minus the I, my mistake. Sir Bors, the younger, it's power 4, toughness 2. I guess it's attack power and defense power. Right? I think that's how it's kind of worded in this game. So kind of a weaker toughness power, but it has ranged 2, so it can shoot a ranged all the way to my druid for 4 power if he wants. And it also gets rid of enemies. It has the additional effect of enemies lose stealth, if that matters. But just it is a big threat. Kind of a glass cannon. And then I think, oh no, because of the nearby, he would take 2 less. Right, so I was about to attack into his Boars, thinking I was like, oh, he misplayed. He did not. He takes 0 from my turtles. So I need to either buff the turtles or... so yeah, this you can tell this is my first time playing against Shield Maidens, where I didn't even know that was a card. And just having to redo the math in my head on how to get rid of his minions. So it is a threat. A ranged is a projectile though, so if he does tap to shoot it toward my druid, my turtles do soak it. So he'd maybe, I don't know, attack with the Shield Maidens first, take less damage, and then tap to shoot a projectile at my turtles to kill it. So now feeling the pressure from the Shield Maidens with powerful cards like Boars, where Boars is, it's actually a really creative way to build the deck because Boars is a glass cannon. He's very vulnerable to an attack because he dies for, 2 power. But if you can reduce that, he's effectively a 4/4. If you think of it that way. So just a much more powerful card that can shoot a ranged, projectile for 4 power at once per turn, safely and effectively is very scary. Tapping our druid to, looks like I'm looking to play a sight in the form of a tadpole pool, which creates 3 submerged frogs. Frogs can be either do nothing or be very good, especially when they come in submerged. It's not, it takes a turn or 2 to get them on the surface, but they do protect the site that they're under. So if I was, wanted to move my druid over there and then flip, they can potentially block anything that moves in and tries to attack onto it. They can also be buffed with Lord of Unland or the Ruler of Thule. And they're generally just like chump blockers, but if you can pump them up, you can sometimes summon them onto your opponent's side and get some damage in. So playing the Hydra here. Like I was saying, I know my keyboard's a little loud, but I am having the Curiosa.io website next to my recording here in case I don't know what a card does. I can pull it up, and I think a couple of my previous recordings I was just guessing what cards do. So I'm improving one video at a time here, hopefully, in my commentary skills here. But the Serwyn Hydra has 6 power, was my thought. So if I can move an attack onto Sir Bors, I will kill it. So moving and attacking with the Draconis, he decides to take it. And going down to, I believe, 14 life. Forgive me, I am I'm looking up these cards, but the website is it's down. Maybe I should just grab my physical deck and look at it from there. But I believe it's 6 power, and I believe he's at 14. Yes, that's correct. Website just loaded. Okay. So just moving the Draconis strategically into that position, because that basically means if he moves anything onto that site, I have the ability to drown it. So he needs to carefully, consider, or if I can pull his Bruin onto it or swap onto it. I believe my thinking in this match is that I just feel that it is a very strategic position. Locks down a site and is just a threat right in front of his druid. Well, now that his Bruin or his druid, now that his druid is flipped and there's a Bruin on the field, my Tawny cannot directly move and attack in at all. So Tawny probably is just kind of a spellcaster for the rest of the game. It's not probably going to do much, or perhaps move toward the Undertow. Yeah, down toward the Shield Maidens there to cast some other spells. Moves and attacks in for 2. Gets me down to, so we're 14 all at this point. Then moves and attacks with the Tawny, getting me down to 13. So quite an interesting board state. This is, even if, you know, win or lose in this sort of a match, you have to appreciate how fun these sort of situations are in Sorcery. Just the variety of different chests. It really does feel like it's like tactical combat. So he moves and attacks. I think in an effort to pull my Hydra up. Which I don't know, here that doesn't look too bad. I can just move and defend with the Hydra, kill it, and then that removes one of his Shield Maidens. But it looks like I just take it for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Perhaps I was thinking he has a way to get rid of the turtles, and then I actually don't know. I'm not sure why I just took that. I feel like I would have no problem just moving it forward. I can't recall why I would have, why I was worried about moving my Hydra away from the Druid. I mean, it is in a good position. Maybe I was just like, I can afford to take 2 damage in case he's setting up some sort of a trap, grapple shot or something. But even then, I'm not really sure. All right, it looks like he's trying to get rid of my turtles by attacking with the Druid into the turtles to get rid of the hit. He takes 1, goes to 12, taking 2. And then the Bruin attacks the turtles with a trinket. I wonder why he needed the trick. Oh, okay. Yeah, so the Bruin takes the 2 damage. Oh, yeah, so you can see they even crossed it out. So his Druid does not take the 2 damage. The Bruin does. So in order for the Bruin to survive, he needed the trinket to have a 1 additional power in killing the turtles. So that was an effective way to kill that. And I believe I just drew a pirate ship, which reads it's waterbound, and it is a 5 power minion. Excuse me. So again, just an interesting board state to where we're at. How do I want to pull stuff onto the Draconis? I now have a snowball in hand. Oh, that's interesting. So let's do some math here. If my Tawny was able to move to the Hydra site, and then I shot the snowball, that would pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So it would deal 6 damage to everything once it lands. The Hydra would die to that. No, it wouldn't, because it's not lethal damage. This is pre-errata. But the Draconis would die. So I think, you know, you can imagine there's just a lot of options and opportunities. I move an attack here with Draconis, getting him down to 8. And then I try to attack with Tawny, but remember that Tawny dies to the flipped Druid effect. Whenever a enemy ally enters a nearby, it takes 1. So Tawny basically gets shut down. But it looks like I am now wanting to move and attack the Shield Maidens, which lowers the threat of boars ever so slightly, and also boars being kind of aligned with the Tawny and maybe anything else I want to play up there. Hydra now blocks that. So I feel like I've locked down his boars pretty well here. I'm at 13 life. He's at 8 life. I've got my Draconis in a very aggressive position. My Turtles is a good blocker. I've got Frogs on my side of the field to block later in the game when I want to flip to Druid and kind of turtle up. So again, just such a unique and fun board state, at least for myself. I mean, I'm sure people who have been playing for a long time have seen very similar board states in all of the matches they've played, but as a newer player, there's still so much that I've not seen. And so every match can just feel like such a cool learning opportunity for different scenarios. So it looks like I decided to move a couple of my frogs while still submerged over, and then I bring one of them up just to get it up on the surface. Unless you're worried about like a poison nova. Oh, and I just decided to move them all submerged there. I guess the thought is just that those frogs being in that corner isn't like the best position for them to just sit in. So I may as well move them into like a more potential strategic position later in the game. Bring them up and then can use them as blockers. It's kind of a slow burn, but again, they come in for free with the genesis of the tadpole pool. And I also should it's probably just because I was pulling the tokens, but I generally try to play my sites on the bottom of the square, and my opponent is doing that very well, and I am not. So I apologize for that. The idea being you should probably play your sites at the bottom of your square because it just makes it visually a little easier. So it looks like I do move an attack, or at least move so that Tawny dies, because I'm planning to play another site so I can bring Tawny in to possibly a better position. So Babbling Brook here, which disables all minions nearby, which is risky for Draconis. Well, maybe not risky, because I'm not planning to use this effect anyway. And I think he's saying that Tawny would still die to this effect, because it is entering a nearby site, and I'm realizing that I had a little whoopsie there. So rather, I'm going to put the Babbling Brook here and have it enter in a safer position. And I just ask if he's okay with it. Sorcery is generally really good with takesies backsies because there's virtually no instant speed spells in this game. So it doesn't really matter to him. Like it's not like he would have reacted differently unless there's new information or he blocks or he does something. I play the Babbling Brook, which actually disables his Tawny and his Shield Maidens as well. So that actually just feels like a better effect. So not that the Shield Maidens is much of a threat at the moment. It does disable them, so they're no longer providing that -1. And the Tawny is no longer a spellcaster or airborne. Well, sorry to keep jumping to the topic, but are you guys excited for Gothic? It's frankly what is on my mind. I cannot wait. 13 new avatars to check out. I've only seen, I think, 5 or 6 of them. And I'm trying my best to not go on the website and look at them all. I want to crack them open. Probably after my first booster box, I'll go on the websites and look at all the cards. But gosh, I mean, even in addition to just new cards, there's new curios to look out for. Looks like he drew a Hound of Honduras, by the way. Hounds basically is a 4-power minion that costs 5, but it has basically every keyword in the game. As far as where it can positionally be cast and move, it has airborne, it can burrow, it can submerge, and it has void walk. So it doesn't die to berries, it doesn't die to drowns, it doesn't die to getting pushed into the void. One of my favorite cards. It's an elite, so you can have 2 in a deck, in an air deck, and it's very, very powerful. The Hounds of Ondaros. And its flavor text reads, "Nowhere is safe from these elite beasts," which is just another creative way for the game to add its keywords into the flavor text. All right, so he decides to grapple shot the Bruin into the Draconis, which strikes it for 4. And then it looks like he's considering attacking then with the Bruin, trading with it, which does make his Druid vulnerable once I get him to Death's Door. But he got rid of a really, really big threat. That Draconis has just been in a very annoying position for him the entire game. So I feel like I got a lot of value out of that. I got to get rid of his Pudge Butcher. I got in for a lot of damage. Actually, all the damage so far in the game has been dealt by Draconis, getting him down to 8. All 12 of that was done by Draconis, so that was a great transform, or a shapeshift rather, for me. And he decides to just move Sir Boar's. Yeah, I was going to say he's about to move it toward my turtles, but I could just kill it the next turn if he did that. So he moves it away, looking to retreat. Babbling Brook no longer disabling the effects of his Shield Maidens or his Tawny. Whether or not that matters is probably not the case, but just, you know, pointing out all the triggers here. And you can see I like to set dice sometimes on top of the deck that I'm going to draw a card from. Although it reveals what I'm planning to draw next turn if the opponent catches up on it, it prevents me from forgetting. I've done that a few times where I'm like, okay, next turn I'll definitely draw a sight. And then they pass the turn after a huge engagement, and I go, okay, my turn. And I draw a spell, and I go, oh no! So I like to set a die there sometimes. I guess that reveals my secret, though, too, for anyone who plays against me in the future. But even if they know I'm going to draw a spell or a sight, I don't want to forget to do it. So for me, it's worth that revealing of information. So right now in this position, I can move and attack with the Hydra to get in for 6 damage. Tawny can't do much. I do have a snowball effect though as well. So if I decided to like move my druid over to the left and then cast the snowball, I could get him to death's door. So cards like snowball and swap just add so many options to what we want to do. So I decided to tap the druid to draw a sight, and it gives me a river. I do move in an attack for 6, so it looks like I'm trying to figure out a way to get him to door this turn. And getting him to 2 is great, but it may take me another turn to get him to death's door. Yeah, and I keep forgetting that Tawny can't move. You've noticed I've probably missed that 3 times in this match. And again, when you're playing in a tournament, you can get a little flustered, and I'm newer to the game. Now, it's funny, though, because the Druid just got errated to say that only allied sites do it. So actually, me moving my Tawny onto my own pawn here would not have that effect as of today. However, Tawny doesn't respawn every single time now. Is only summoned on the first turn. So it's very unlikely Tawny would have even survived this long anyway. So I think it'd be cool to see people still play with the Druid. I'm sure it still has its use case. It's still a cool card. Like, the flippability is still very, very good. It's just that Tawny not coming back every turn is, yeah, it's quite a lot. I remember hearing Lord of Itza, Josh, talk about that. And his argument that was that Tawny should have got a buff. Tawny should have went to 2 power. If it's only going to get cast once on the start of the turn, it should at least be a little bit more powerful. But now the token of Tawny, you know, like, that's got to be a hard thing from Eric's Curiosa to decide how to do that, because you can't just digitally update the card. It's physically printed somewhere. So errating the Druid with new rules text is one thing, but to change the power of it entirely is obviously much harder. I do a polymorph on his last Shield Maidens here, so the Maidens are now no longer a threat. I then move an attack into his Tawny just to get rid of it. I've got 3 Submerged Frogs on my Druid. I've got 1. That's his frog. I just flipped it around. Oh yeah, so he's realizing, hey, I could have blocked with the frog. So I attack into his Tawny and instead just kill his frog. But my Tawny shouldn't have died there. So this looks like a misplay unless we catch it in a moment. Yeah, see how my Tawny's dead? It should not have died. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we caught it. So I move an attack. He blocks with the frog. Tawny survives. Which could make or break a game. Again, I have a snowball in my hand. So if I need to very strategically position Tawny to cast the snowball from that Babbling Brook on slot 10 there, you know, if I didn't catch that, well, I apologize, and I don't know why, but ladies and gentlemen, it appears we have officially faced our first problem with the GoPro setup. I do not know what happened, but it appears that part of the clip or one of the clips is totally missing from the end of this match. So I'm sorry. I wanted to commentate how that match ended, but I will reveal the winner. I did end up taking the win, but I would hate to guess how I won. I don't quite remember if I just from there kind of kept attacking and won, or if there was something cool that happened with the snowball. I'm sorry to say, but this is all we have. It's the end where we're cleaning up, and my opponent Ryan K and I are just kind of talking about the match, and it was a great back and forth, discussing how it was a good back and forth in the game. And I apologize. I'm gonna have to look into this. I hope this is the only match where this happened, and if I do see it again, sounds like it's gonna be time to upgrade to some new camera equipment. So again, this is a new YouTube channel, and we are, you know, ironing out all of the kinks, so to speak, and it looks like this is one of them. So I did not foresee this. I didn't catch this earlier, but part of this video is quite simply missing. So I'm sorry. It's a very somber way to end this. I hope you enjoyed it otherwise and just the commentary. And let's hope that round 4, there are no technical issues and that we can just enjoy commentating the full match. Sorry about that, everyone. We'll fix it. We'll get it better as we move forward. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.